Your baby.
You missed three.
No, she didn't.
No.
Check out the really, they were supposed to determine my car the same day, they kept it 4 days. I got to use. Yeah. Oh, they lied and said the car is. We went to LA and went to the Great Mountain without even seeing. So said, get this, and we got kids who were headed to Vegas. So, yeah. Yeah. In the morning and get there by. It's at night.
That's not a good way to go.
The only bad thing that we're going that third, which is driving to Vegas to catch a flight to Detroit. Because there's 6 of us.
You got 4.
Yeah, we say, right.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and call it to order.
Call the order, yes, sir.
Yes, it is.
You got my attention.
All right. And I get approval of the.
We don't have a form yet. We gotta go for that.
No, we got a form.
Those questions there like that here. I make a motion.
And the. Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Chair, I would like to,
Approve it and have questions.
well, I have questions for the agenda. If I can add something to it. But I will go back to Councilman Scott to set the agenda. I mean, the agenda with some noted of adding.
So you want to do the agenda and
And then,
minutes later?
right, the agenda.
Would she accept your friendly amendment to your motion?
Yes, I accept her.
And then you second.
And I second.
Okay, all in favor of the agenda, I'll leave by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions.
Aye.
And we will go on to the minutes.
To approve the minutes.
Second.
I second.
Can Jorge participate?
No, sorry, Jorge, you have to be in person, or we had to have done that process for you to join virtually.
Okay, sounds good. I sent you an email. I don't know if you saw it, but for future reference then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so moved and seconded. All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, abstentions, carries. All right, this is where we have public comment.
I'll take it.
Okay,
Yeah, so good evening, Chair Gilmore, MAC members. I am Cordell Henlon. I have one announcement to make. So the MAC is invited to the Richmond Rotary Weekly Meeting on June 23rd at 12:30 at the Richmond Country Club. It's $25 and that includes lunch too. So our speaker for that meeting will be Mayor Eduardo Martinez, who will be talking to us about some of the policies that they're working on, during the fiscal year. So everyone's invited and it's only $25 for lunch. So that's the only announcement I have.
thank you. Yes, see, there's two other hands up. Let's see.
Yeah, Eleanor Latifa.
Okay, I wanted to announce about the 4th of July Parade and Festival. This will be our 11th year. And I'm asking, I know that Miss Annie King and Marina always stop by. I want you guys to come and stay this time. It's on a Sunday. And most likely you'll be out of church around that time. And Mr. Dunn Gilmore, I don't think you've made it. So this is my last year doing this. So please come. And I just want you to know that the 4th of July event has been always paid for out of my pocket. I've never gotten any money from anyone except from the police officers of Richmond. They've given me a small donation during some years, but for the 11 years, it has always been paid for out of my pocket. So I want everybody to come this year. It'll be on a Sunday the 2nd. We'll be giving out backpacks, some scholarships and all of that. So hopefully everybody will make it out.
May I ask why this is the last year?
I didn't hear you.
May I ask why this is the last year?
Oh, well, I'm getting kind of old now. I think I better take it easy. And hopefully somebody will. Marina, it was passed on to her and I kind of wanted to keep it going. So hopefully she'll pick it up or somebody else.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good evening, who's next?
Yes, Latifa, and then Cynthia.
Okay, good evening. I wanted to make a comment for you all to, I don't know what format you can consider this in, but a couple of times we've mentioned the street sweeping and there still hasn't been a resolution. And so I would like for whatever funds are going to the street sweeping to maybe be redirected to cleaning the street gutters, because we have this truck with Tyco coming down the street, but because the cars are not moved, it's not really providing a service. So just wanted to put that out there, and whatever form you need to consider that in, I would appreciate some deliberation around that. Thank you.
Cynthia?
Yes. I think you're muted, Cynthia. I can see you talking.
Okay, now can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, fine. How is everybody doing this evening? I just want to announce that July the 15th will be the North Richmond 11th annual music festival. And my job is to get organizations to set up tables at the festival. So I know I expect everyone here at the meeting to represent their organization at the festival. And one of my other goals is to have North Richmond representation out there real strong. So I will be sending out emails. And another thing is I seen on Facebook with one of my friends, her and her husband are part of a motorcycle club thing called the Iron Horseman or something. And they've opened up a clubhouse at the end of 7th Street on the other side of Market. And I don't know what that is as far as pertaining to the community and introducing themselves and letting us know that they are there. And I'll leave it at that. And thank you.
Okay, so does anybody else want to bring?
I don't see anyone's hand raised.
Hello, everybody, Princess Robinson here. I have been coming here talking about the Fence Lines Project, which is a collective monument of resilience, where we let community customize their own slat, which is like a stick. And we install them on a fence with the flag so you can see which way the wind blows, creating this awareness of climate justice, of environmental injustices right through art. And so what we did, we had an exhibition in the Richmond Art Center. It went on for about a month and a half, where you can see our installations up there, all of our community slats. We also took those same slats and installed them on a fence between Chevron and Richmond, which is right there on Richmond Parkway, in between Vernon and Gertrude. And we did that on Earth Day. So I think we covered like a 1,000 square footage of fence. And somewhere between May 16th and May 17th, all of our slats were deliberately removed, like they were stolen. We don't know where they're at, who has them, but we're calling out for help to the community, for anybody that has any type of information on who may have these slats. And these are all community customized pieces where everyone, like we went to so many different events, everyone got to participate and create their own slat, and they're gone and we don't know where they're at. These fences are owned by the city of Richmond and by Chevron, and we're just asking for anybody here or anybody in the community who has any information to please contact me so we can find our collective monument of resilience, y'all. So thank you. It's a sad story, but hopefully we get them, tips.
Since Cynthia coming back, Princess, when I was at church Sunday, I left church Sunday and I rode down Castro in the other street and I was looking for those slacks and I just didn't see them.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of people that are all like, I'm not trying to hit me up, tell me, oh, maybe it's the homeless people, but till we went there, I don't think the homeless would deliberately take our flag. We also went there and talked to many of those folks in that encampment, and people have not seen them, they're not there, so. Maybe, I don't know, I got a lot of suspects in my head, but,
Good evening, everybody. Annie King Meredith. And I would just like to mention some incidents that's been going on here in the community. And I'm going to probably roll over to what I shared also in the highway patrol. One of the things for the last couple of years before we went into the pandemic, I actually sat on First Street and Market and actually count the cars that actually run the stop sign there. Within the time of an hour and 45 minutes, I counted 144 cars that did Hollywood stops. And it was increments of every 7 minutes. And that was in place of the light that held you on Gertrude and to allow at least 12 cars to come through. Not only that, they have made First Street a highway. They do not do the speed limit within the residential. They'll do about 60, coming straight on down and hit Market and going up Fred Jackson, or go continue down Market. So my thing is, I had a couple of my captains to call me. And you all probably know, but I am the coordinator for the Neighborhood Watch and been that for over 12 years. And one of the things they brought to my attention of the speeding. Now, when you say something, this individual had nerve to, one of the individuals that was doing the chaos, speeding up and down First Street, had nerve to stop to talk to a resident that had owned property there on First Street. and actually told him he has never seen him there before. And that he made a comment to him, well, you know, if you're here in North Richmond, you unfamiliar to us in North Richmond, and things happen to individuals that come into North Richmond if we do not know who you are. Now, this individual has been in homestead here for over 50 years, 60 years, may I say. Just because this individual youngster runs up and down the street doing 60 and 70 and not recognize who the residents are, he doesn't have the right to tell anyone who they are if he does not recognize him. So I just want to make that statement, and I'm pretty sure we'll fold over to our reports with the sheriff and with our highway patrol. So I just want to put that out there. Okay.
Is there anybody else?
CHBC, so my name is Kyle Dennis. CHBC's Community Building Engagement Department for CLI team has planned a community awareness day for tomorrow, July 7th or June 7th, from 12 to 3 in the parking lot of 1535D, Fred Jackson Way. All is invited. Should be a good event. Will be a mixture of health fair, job fair, and also just all the resources that are available to the community out here. So hope everybody can come.
What time is that from?
12 to 3.
Okay. All right, seeing no public comments, we're gonna move to number 5 on our agenda and one from the sheriff department.
That's cool.
Oh,
I
yeah, 4, that's what.
I did see, well, I don't know if you want to go with this.
I want to show something.
I can go, if you want.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, Officer Flannery here with Highway Patrol. My second time coming here. Last time I kind of came empty-handed as far as like, you know, stuff to report on. So I went back to my command with the concern that we talked about with regard to site code, et cetera. No news to new news to report back on any of the site codes. It's obviously an ongoing issue here in the greater Bay Area. As I stated last time, our office, which is responsible for this area, prior to, we had 2 officers that were specifically assigned to this area. Hopefully within the next 5 months, hopefully before the end of the year, getting 10 new officers coming, I believe the end of June. So hopefully once those officers are trained, then we can get someone that's specifically assigned out to this area, so we can better respond to your guys' calls and needs for traffic enforcement. And obviously that seems like it's an ongoing issue. So I did bring some stats to share from the beginning of the year till now, till present. So just to show that we respond out here, we do some enforcement, with tow vehicles, impound vehicles out here. So I'll kind of just go through some of those, just stats that we have that we've collected. So like I said, this is from January 1, 2023 till present. So for storage and impounded vehicles, so for the past 5 months, we have stored or impounded 38 vehicles. We've made 7 arrests for DUI. We've issued 8 warning citations. We've issued 36 other, normal citations, 24 of those being moving violations, which can be stop signs or speed or something along the lines of that. We've arrested 1 person for felony DUI. Actually, just another felony arrest. We've given 1 parking ticket. We've parked a couple unoccupied vehicles so that we can further enforced, probably, hopefully, store those vehicles. We've investigated 14 crash investigations, so those are typically more, like a longer, more, they probably resulted in injuries. Unfortunately, we've investigated 44 traffic collisions, so those are with no injuries. And we obviously respond a lot out here to assist other agencies, whether that be for fire or with the sheriff's office. We then recovered 11 abandoned stolen vehicles. So I believe that's it. And we gave a handful of verbal warnings out here for moving violations, and equipment violations, etc. So that's kind of the stats for now. And as stated, hopefully we can get someone that's, you know, assigned, and hopefully we can have boost these numbers up. Someone that's assigned to this area so they can continue, you know, to work on the issues such as enforcement, through moving violations, stop sign, speed, stuff that causes collisions out here. So we can boost the collision numbers down and then hopefully up the citations up to kind of work on those issues out here.
That period of time was from last month?
From January till present day.
Okay.
So.
Any questions?
One person will comment, and I'm not gonna be long. So with the surveillance that has been put in place due to highway patrol and checking, eating up and down the highway in certain areas, is it possible, since we're short on, you know, having officers here, is it possible that we can have any artificial intelligence, AI, to do drones and to actually identify as they fly over the area and identify at a certain time the high light time of these speedings and running stop signs is between 2:30 and 4:30 as people are getting off work, okay? So I'm just wondering, you know, you can go down the highway, you go down Highway 5, you go down Interstate, you'll see signs in, you know, it's talking about drones or surveillance, you know, or tracking. Is there any way that we can have any tracking over this area?
I mean, the only resource that we have is our helicopter to do any type of speed enforcement. Their hands are pretty tied with other, you know, rescues. No drones, no, we don't have any drones to my knowledge for the highway patrol. In addition, in order to fly a drone, you have to you know, you have to take a class, go through training in order to pass through FAA standards in order to fly one of those. In addition to that, you can't just fly a drone and then identify a vehicle. Like an officer has to contact that person, identify that person. So just because there's a car driving fast, and there's a license plate attached to it, doesn't mean that the registered owner is necessarily driving that car. So we run into a lot of these issues, especially you know, in side codes or whatnot, where we would like to take action, but you know, without a person specifically driving that car, not us putting that person to driver's seat. As far as that goes, side code enforcement, we're only able to take enforcement as far as storing and take further action as far as giving a citation to a specific person.
So this is not the mini drone to go over.
No, we have no drones. Yeah, we have absolutely no drones. We have no one to fly them.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely don't have those resources. I don't know if the sheriff's office does, but I think it's a good idea at least to maybe defer something.
Yeah.
But we don't have those.
We don't have that.
At least the highway will.
Right, okay, just asking, put that out there, drone time, okay.
Thank you. Any questions? There is a hand up. Lorena.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone, and happy Tuesday. I want to ask the question of the Highway Patrol, because I was told or informed that we have a homeless encampment, and it's a large RV camper, and it's located at as soon as you cross over the railroad crossing at Kelsey and Willard, heading on to, I guess that would be Hensley. It's like maybe 3 other additional vehicles that are parked behind that RV trailer, and it's a van and they haven't been moved. I've contacted the Richmond PD, and then I was told that the Highway Patrol has to handle that situation. So I was wondering, has anything been reported, or is there any updates on that sighting?
I have no idea if there's been a report specifically to that specific intersection. What was the cross street, you said Kelsey and what?
Willard Avenue?
Is it Willard at Hensley?
Yes, but it's
Yes.
on the Hensley side, directly at the railroad crossing, at the stop sign.
Okay, and they've been there for a long time.
Yes.
Okay, I'll definitely, we can look into it. I can talk to my supervisors, have someone go out there on one of the shifts, hopefully make contact with them. And then go from there, if that helps.
Okay, thank you. And one more thing, we have commercial trucks that are coming down Willard Avenue, and they're not supposed to be crossing over into the residential area, but they constantly do it, and they're coming off Hensley, and they are actually running over the stop signs and what have you as soon as they cross on to Fred Jackson Way. They do not go back out to Hensley to hit the parkway. They come down through the residential area on Willard Avenue.
Okay, are they doing this to like save time, is there traffic or something, or is it like just a mistake?
It's normally,
I'm not super familiar, at least with that area, so like, would it be?
They're supposed to be prohibited.
They're going to come through the residential.
Yeah, I get it, but is that like saving them like a lot of time?
Right, and they'll come through, they'll come through, obviously, they will make a left and they will come straight down, heading west, and they will end up, probably end up going to Fred Jackson, heading north.
Okay,
And they
Do
come,
they come up over to Fred Jackson?
right, yes, they come up, they go west, and then they make a left, and then they make a right, and they head north.
so they go from Hensley to the north, off to Fred Jackson?
On
On the Willard, right?
to Willard. They come off in Hensley. They make a left, come straight up Willard, heading west. Get to Fred Jackson, and I've seen them. They'll make a right and they go straight up, heading north. Toward Park.
So they're coming from that industrial area. right?
Yes,
So instead of going back and just.
still making a huge U-turn because it's wide enough. They can make a U-turn and go and get on the canal and go up the parkway.
Right.
But instead of that, they'll come through residential on Willard.
and there's also signage indicating if trucks are over 3 tons, they're not supposed to be doing what they do coming down the residential area through Willard, because you know it's a traffic violation, but nothing is being done.
Okay, I mean, that's easy enough to, go out and enforce. I mean, obviously, like I said, based on our resources. Unfortunately, we can't have someone out here all day, but it's definitely something that I can bring to the attention of my command staff, and maybe they can have someone, who's assigned to this end of the area. Maybe come out here, a handful of times during the shift just to kind of come around, maybe catch a violation while they're there, write a ticket and move on. Just so there's a little bit more presence.
All right, thank you.
I have a question. I've been here for a minute that y'all looking for someone to serve out here, I guess, in this area. What's the timeline looking like?
Hopefully, I think the last time I came, they were telling me about 6 months. It's generally speaking, probably gonna be around So we're gonna get 10 new people, the end of June, I believe. Once those 10 new people are off of training, that typically takes about 3 months. So we're looking at 4, so probably about 5 months, give or take, where once all those people are off training, now we're gonna have 10 new people, and then they should be able to staff a person. I would assume 1 person at least, out here.
Where are these people been hired from?
What do you mean?
Like, where do y'all get hired from? I'm sorry, I'm but like emails, like where do y'all?
It's all over, so
Oh.
people come from, yeah, people live in, Central Valley and they get sent here, so it's like, sometimes you don't really necessarily have a choice.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I know I can't leave, but I think about over here, we talking about diesel trucks coming from the residential areas.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a few concerns on that, way back in 2018. It was bought up as part of code enforcement for the diesel trucks, and here it is, 2023, still not. So my concern is a concern that they take it seriously, because especially with diesel trucks, I know of 2 accidents that happened on one of Great Jackson Lake Market Avenue because of diesel trucks. And my understanding is diesel trucks, like the lady said earlier, they're not even supposed to be coming through here. I think the diesel trucks drive right past our patrol. I've seen them drive right past sheriff's department. And they'll be pulled over anyway. So my concern is when actual action will start taking place to get the diesel trucks in the residential area.
And it's definitely an issue that I wasn't aware of. I mean, I've been at the office for years. I can't say that I'm an expert in this area specifically. There's tons of laws, especially that people aren't even aware of, specific to this area. So it's definitely an issue that I'll bring it up as something that's pretty easy enforcement as far as seeing a semi truck in the area. I'm like, that's not supposed to be true, right?
Yeah, because the main one is the truck versus them going across.
They're
13 years. Yeah.
And they have GPS and they know that they're not supposed to do that. It's
Yeah.
an issue that we have out on 580, supposed to take trucks out there, they still drive out there. They tell us the same story, they're like, oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, because I even actually asked one of the truck drivers, he literally said it's a lot easier to cross off the Richmond Parkway to avoid all the traffic.
Right. So, like I said, I wasn't aware of the issue. I'm glad it was brought to my attention. I can bring it up to my staff and hopefully we can address it.
Okay. Thank you
And
very much.
may I share something?
Sure, go ahead.
Hi, it's Leticia. Yes, and I'm talking about trucks. And one thing that I noticed lately, especially on weekends, it's by Annie's, but on Market Street, there is those big trucks, that like car carriers or something, that they even have like two cars on top, one car on top of the other one, like they move cars. Those big trucks are parked in there on that street. Actually, the Annie's, what Annie's is. And sometimes they are even using part of the road where they covered the white line, in which is blocking, like the bike line and all that. So I don't know if you could check out. Sometimes I did a report on the Mobile Citizen about those, because there was like 3 of those big trucks, so it blocks a lot. So I don't know if you can check that. I think that is some people that has like business, the truck business across the railroad from Annie's might belong to them. But they are using the road, Market Avenue on both sides sometimes, and they really block big chunk of the, on the street. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a semi-truck issue, it's due to me, so I'll definitely bring it up. But if you see something, my best piece of advice is to call in, report it. That way there's some sort of log of it, and then we will copy that information, and then that way we're aware of it. I wasn't aware of the issue, so now I am. Kind of go from there.
Maybe if accountability would be like, Do you get data and take the data down from the truck ticket, like maybe you can bring that back, like how many trucks you take?
It wouldn't get coded as far as like a commercial driver versus a regular driver. It would just be considered there are different forms of the citation that you get, moving violation versus just like an other ticket or an equipment ticket, something like that. But nothing specific to like truck driver.
Just one thing, and then I know we're gonna have to move forward. After this meeting, or if you have to leave out before this meeting is over, as Letitia is saying, if you go down 6th Street, all the way to Market, and make that right, I'm pretty sure you probably see those support structures talking about that is actually sitting in the bike lane. They're across from Annie. Annie. It's right there. And I'm pretty sure you're gonna see about 4. Might see more. If you leave out.
And they're blocking the.
They're parked on the side of the curb and in the bike lane. So you might be able to see those from here. Today. Yeah, today. Yeah, 2 days. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, dealing with the homelessness in this area. I had a lady that lived across the street from me for like a year. And it was like, one day she liked me, some days she didn't. Some days she threatened to kill me, other days it was, how you doing, have a nice day. And so it's hard to gauge what they're actually gonna do. Then there's another guy that's showed up randomly, doesn't really say much, but we were trying to pass at the same time, and I said, you know, can you go ahead and call the cops? I don't want him to try to fight me. He just lost it. You know, my family, and you like to think that, you know, nothing's gonna happen, but this person was also like sleeps 3 houses down from me, and he decided to get a hair up his nose and come looking for me like, what do you do when you were? It's obviously mental health indicators, obviously it's the days that we're on the street, but what are, you know, are you supposed to report it and say this person's threatening me, or are you just like, what are the steps on dealing with the homeless population and dealing with the mental health issues and being cussed at and yelled at and threatened?
I would just most definitely report it. I don't know if necessarily we would be the ones to come out and handle it. I think that would be more so a sheriff. But from just a law enforcement perspective, I would say definitely report it. That way there's essentially a log. This keeps happening. It's a trend essentially. And then they're going to keep coming out, right? Come out and make contact. And then if they keep making contact, it's usual behavior. It depends what it says to you, right?
And I'm just worried just because he doesn't normally say anything, and this particular day, he kind of lost it. And so I go back in my house, but who knows who's going to be the next person to receive it, because he didn't get what he wanted out of me. And so then the next person, and we got, you know, a lot of people walking through there. So I always call one of my neighbors and say, hey, this is what happened, just in case I pissed off this guy. And I don't want him, if he's still, because he's mentally ill, so if he's still not come down from that, then I want people to be aware that, you know, he's upset right now, and he knows he's gonna take it out on him. And I thought it was the end of it, but then this morning when I left to go to work, the guy working on my house was like, hey, that homeless guy came by and said he came by looking for you, saying he would kill you and your dog. So not letting it go, like so.
Sheriff.
Is that true?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I mean, I know it probably doesn't happen to everybody, but when it does happen, it's kind of creepy. Because you just never know how, I just want to blow it off, like, he's just crazy, he's not gonna do anything. But I also don't want to be.
We can have the sheriff, so then he can give you his direct contact and you can do it directly. That would be the proper place to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will go to the sheriff.
Hello. My name's Aaron Sky. I've been reassigned as your the North Richmond resident deputy. My focus has been on mitigation. Actually, I started the position back in mid-January. We'll get to the homeless person in a second with regards to the bike, because we have issues with
Can you
regards.
speak up a little?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You better.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. So with regard, we'll get to the person on the bike issue. My focus more or less is not only to servicing the citizens of North Richmond, but also trying to participate and help out with trash mitigation, right? And it's been a challenge so far, because the issue is trying to identify the people or the groups of people that are doing it. But so far up through through January through March, I've taken basically 60 reports. There are 60 documented reports with regards to illegal dumping. I have started issuing citations with regards to illegal dumping. We are trying to get some feedback, but as far as identifying the actual groups or individuals that are doing it, we are still searching. So we have other tactics that are in the background we're trying to discuss, as far as cameras, because the biggest thing is cameras. But that's going to be more of a long-term project. Hopefully we can get that going. In regards to criminal statistics has been happening, I don't have those. And I apologize for that. But I know both me and my colleagues, we've been pretty heavy as far as enforcement goes. We've also been noticing there's been a lot more stolen vehicles from North Richmond. And we've been locating stolen vehicles inside of North Richmond. With regards to the homeless, it's a challenge, because we're basically shuffling them around between Brookside, right, then to behind the railroad tracks, and then out to Castro, which is Richmond jurisdiction. So we're trying to do what we can, but there's only so much we can do. It depends on the incident. So any questions with regards to the?
Would be contacted if you're being harassed by a particular person, the homeless population? Do we just call 911, or is there a particular person you report it to?
You could call our dispatch, because I'm not always working. I work Monday through Thursday, usually from 6 a.m. until about 4 p.m. I'm actually taking this call from my house. But you could put the call into service as far as into the sheriff's dispatch, and it'll keep a record as far as who you're contacting. And we try to do a pass down from shift to shift as far as who we need to be on the lookout for. We do have a group through the county, A3. We try to get them in touch, and try to get them in touch with also our mental health deputy, to coordinate services with them, assuming that they want services, but it's not always the case.
So what's that phone number? You know it, or?
I'm sorry?
Catch the phone number.
The phone number.
The phone number.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. The dispatch's non-emergency telephone number is 925-646-2441.
Thank you.
And I can also share the number for the mobile crisis response team for Contra Costa County. That one is 1-800-833-2900. And then you can always call 211, and it will also direct you to the mobile crisis response team, and it can also redirect you to our core team as well, and they do dispatch to go talk to homeless people to see what services they can take advantage of, or they can be placed. And that's the number.
I was
211.
Oh, the other one.
Oh,
1-800.
yeah. Oh, yeah. 1-800.
833-2900.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Any other questions for the sheriff?
Just a quick one. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, my concern again is part of that thing. October 3rd, 2018, in regards to the cars being parked on the street doing street sweeping, the street sweeper just drives down the street. Because people don't move their cars. The last time someone was here to represent the sheriff's department, they said they didn't have enough people to come out to enforce the tickets. I even made a suggestion that if you want me to, I could make copies and give warnings to all the cars, but he said he would take care of it. So my concern is, when is that problem gonna be taken care of? Because I know in every other city, they have somebody to ticket the car that park doing street sweeping.
Okay, so as far as the street sweeping goes, unfortunately, we've dropped the ball on that one. I'll definitely bring it up as far as, not only myself, but other, deputies that work during the morning timeframe to address the street sweeping. But yeah, we apologize for that.
Yeah, and I don't put the offer back on the table again. You guys can print out copies. I'll personally go around and put up the warnings on everybody's car. I mean, it's one of those 6 years and streets with literally, he just drives down the street because he can't sweep the street because the cars, they don't move their cars.
Yeah, and I mean,
Say they move their cars, including in Richmond.
me personally, I don't want to go around ticketing, especially the residents of North Richmond for.
No, ticketing, you guys make a warning flyers. Notifying that the owner, if they don't start moving their car, they will start. No, I don't want to ticket nobody. No, that's not what I'm saying, not at all.
Okay, yeah, so, I mean, we could do the warning, but along with warning, right, it's just kind of like parenting. We have to execute on our, if you don't do this or else, right?
Yeah.
So we could try to come up with other ways as far as trying to communicate the information to the citizens. On those specific streets, on those specific days when they do the street sweeping.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just want to comment and piggyback on what he's saying. In 2018, we had 2018 and it was brought up, and one of the things that they were actually short for someone, they were short with staff. Okay, and then they said there was a problem with funding to have someone to do the street sweeping, because it has stopped for a while. And that was one of our pet peeves when we first started from that, to have sweeping to go on. The signs are there. One of the things, the signs are so faded out and people are not paying attention to those signs. Okay, if you look at those signs, the sign has been up there for almost 20 years now. And the sign has not been replaced. So with the signs not being replaced, they feel it's okay to actually park there. The other thing, what you're saying, the city of Richmond has also slacked on giving tickets for having a vehicle to follow the street sweeper. Usually a vehicle is in front of that street sweeper to actually see if it's clear for him to go, he or she to go and clean the curb, or it's one that's followed. The one that followed is the one that put not a ticket, but that flyer that you can't take off and give you 72 hours to move your car, okay? That should come back into play. It's not that through my experience, because I got tickets when I first moved over there. I got tickets because I didn't pay attention to the sign. But it is already in place. It's just to have it reinforced. And what you have brought up, and it's not to reinvent the wheel, but it is in place to have someone who follow. They have followed. Now, when they're looking for money for the city, the county, you can't say too much for the county, but for the city, they will have someone following that sweeper and will actually put a flyer on that car and have that car removed. So as you're saying, it's there. I don't know why they don't want to make any money, but they can tax you on everything else. But if they want to make a lot of money, they can make it with a lot of these cars sitting on the street. I'm done.
So it was acknowledged that they dropped the ball, so
Yeah.
let's give them a chance to do some reinforcement on this and report back to us on the status of that. As you do the tickets, or you do whatever data you have or what you have accomplished. So we can see there's progress being made. Is that acceptable to use? Talking to the chair?
Hello.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really too involved with the street sweeping. I guess we can look into it more, but it sounds like there's already been a process in place.
Yeah, I mean, you had to, you guys dropped the ball, so we were looking for you to follow up and see if the ball gets picked up, basically.
As far as enforcement goes,
I don't know what you said you dropped the ball on, so whatever that was that enforcement or was that? Yeah, I don't know, you tell me.
well, my guess is that it sounds like the complaint is with regards to the street sweepers, right? Because there's cars parked along the street. And we don't want to ticket those people, yet we want to warn them that, you know, I'm not gonna, I mean, it's not, again, I apologize, but we've been focusing on a lot of other issues. But as far as like moving forward, I mean, we could try to get somebody to set up those tickets, to start issuing warnings. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to just generate a flyer for generating a flyer. I want to make sure that this is going to be okay. It's going to be
Sure. We're not asking you to give us that right now. We're asking you to come back to us and let us know what the status of enforcement is at our next meeting.
Okay, yeah, we'll look into it.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Is anybody from Richmond PD here? I didn't see nobody here. Is it coming from the? No? Okay. All right, we will move on to item number 5. Thank you. Move on to item number 5. And that's North Richmond business proposal by.
It's Mayor Freeman again. Yes, my name is Constantine Diagas. I'm the owner manager of Mayor Freeman. We are a cannabis distribution company, family owned. I've been up and operating for 4.5 years, and I'm trying to relocate to North Richmond. And in order for me to get a conditional use permit, I have to get a thumbs up from this committee because it's in the unincorporated area of Richmond. And so that's why I'm here. Before I really started the application process, because I don't want to have to pay lease at 2 locations for an extended period of time. It costs about $10,000 a month, which I don't have. My current lease is good until February of next year, but I really like the location. I found out I got a real good lease agreement that I can put into action with the owner of the condo. It's over here by the water company. And I submitted a business overview. I don't know if everybody got that, so that people can have an idea of what the business will be comprised of my my position in running the company, running the business, and how I run my operation, so that maybe you can ask questions.
There's been a request if you can speak up. The people on Zoom can't hear you.
Can they see him? Can they actually see him as he might have to move over here?
They could, even if they were able to see him, I think he would still need to.
You have to speak up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just.
I'm sorry, I was even thinking about the camera. That's my fault. I said my name is Constantine Diagas. I'm the owner manager of Beer Fuming. We're a cannabis distribution company, and I'm trying to relocate my business to North Richmond because it's unincorporated. Before I move forward the application, I would like to potentially get a thumbs up by this committee. I submitted my business overview, giving everybody an opportunity to take a look at it and see if in fact there are any questions for me. In reference to my business, I'd be more than happy if there's something else that you'd like to see. This I didn't have any records. I just wanted to give something of who I was and type of business that I run.
Well, I'm going to question before I.
Without a question, I didn't get to see the business plan, right?
It's an overview, it's not a full business plan.
It's an overview. I didn't get to see it at all. So I do have a couple of questions about how many staff people are gonna be there, if you have intention of hiring locally. But I also want to say that we've had a cannabis distribution come to our Richmond board, and we definitely did not support it because we're trying to move away from those attracting those types of businesses or those types of, things in our neighborhood. We're trying to clean our neighborhood more. So I'm just kind of like keeping up here with it, like I'm in the middle of it. I'm not saying I don't like weed, of course, everybody like weed, but I'm saying that, you know, you know, in our neighborhood, I think we were trying to move away from that, if I'm not mistaken, but, definitely like to hear more about it.
Well, family owned, there's actually three full-time people, it's my son, actually both of my sons. And then I have three part-time people. I'm financing myself, so I narrowed my distribution business to business. The only thing that I purchase and transport is flour. I deal directly with the cultivators and I deal directly with, the retail, which is the dispensaries and delivery people. There will be no business activity at that location, no sale, no transaction at all is at that location. That's what my intent is. I'm old school, so I like to believe that I'm professional in my approach, even though this industry is at its infancy. I deal with people who are credible. Like I said, I've had a license for 4.5 years. I didn't start generating, I would say, revenue until like the last 2 years. And the relationships I have with the people that I do business with are in that same boat. Since this industry is at its infancy, there's a lot of people who are licensed for incubators and everything else who, unfortunately, although they have licenses, they don't have the business background and understanding what it takes to run a business, even though they're trying to get people who have been involved in some negative way or arrested or whatever the case may be. You give them a license, but you can't. That doesn't teach them how to run a business. As an entrepreneur, there's a lot of aspects involved in that. So I reserve the right to not do business, and that's what I do right now, and that's the degree of my success. What's happening right now, as far as where the location is, no one would even know. That's what I'm doing, and that's intentional, because part of the security is exactly that. Unless this committee or the city, obviously they have to know that for me to be licensed. Outside of that, no one would ever know. All my business is done over the phone, or I'm at their location. Just like yesterday, I was up in Eureka, 5 hours up. I had 3 meetings up there, 3 different farms, and 5 hours back. I came more to California in the last 4 years. I'm a guy that catches the plane, but you know, there are a lot of these farms. I've been in places that I didn't even know they grew cannabis. And I don't consume it, I don't smoke it. This is business. My background is business. I worked for a company for 18 years, very successful. They went public. They handed me, thank you very much check, and then I became an entrepreneur back in 2005. At that point in time, I went in business. I started distributing coffee, which I still do. And then when they legalized this, I decided there's a great opportunity there. So I wanted to do something in my position is going to be generation. I'm going to get it up and running. I'm going to make it healthy and hand it off to my family.
Yeah, you should look into the equity programs that they got going to the cities and counties right now. I think it's a statewide initiative. And we've been talking about transportation a lot. You're doing a distribution company. Have you thought about the plan for your drivers and stuff like that to be not driving to the community?
Well, there would be reason to. We would go. I have 2 vans. I have a Ford Transit and a Mercedes Metris, and you won't even know we're carrying it. Like we go straight to the freeways. Like I said, I pick and choose where I do business. I do no business in Oakland, even though I'm licensed there. And quite honest with you, as of right now, I do no business in Richmond. Most of my business is up north, Sacramento Valley, and Los Angeles. I do plan on, as we grow, to hire locally. Biggest thing in my industry that I look for, because I can teach anybody how to do, I keep things simple, is the thing I can't teach is trust. But that's the one thing that I look for when I have people working for me. But other than that, I plan on getting involved in the community, and I can see that I could probably participate in some activity. I'm in a visitor box right now, so Somebody's over here had a question.
We'll come back to the report, but I want to see if there's any questions. Go ahead.
So where was your location?
It would be, I have the address, it's 2258 Central Street. It's gated, all of the spaces over there are really condo warehouses that are all owned individually. And no one else in there is doing, which I would like. One of the major issues and concern for myself is being in a community, campuses where everybody's doing some sort of cannabis business. That creates a problem in and of itself. So I'm trying to get away from it.
But basically you're saying it would be just a storage facility, no sales, no
No storage. That's exactly right. There would be no business transaction at that location.
Okay, we have something.
Yes.
There's no hands raised.
No, okay, go ahead.
I guess my question is, do you have any ties to the North Richmond community and what attracted you to this community?
Actually, the location, it's away from the community, and they're willing to give you a 5 years lease agreement. And I don't want to spend a lot of energy in my location. I want a nice, safe location, and that's it. I go around it. I see there's a lot of businesses around here. That's where I want to be. It's quiet, so it's a great place for me to conduct business. The only thing that I do, I'm in the office all day. I'm on the phone all day. I'm talking, establishing meetings. I'm driving. Like I said, I'm old school. I don't do business with anybody I don't meet. We sit down and at that time it's kind of it's a meet and greet. Make a determination if I want to do business with them. So at that location, the neighbors there wouldn't even hear us in there. We don't allow music. Very professional in my approach. Prior businesses that I worked on, especially with the corporate America businesses, I did extremely well. I know how to manage people. I know how to build a business. My background is business, and this is my niche. It's just a location. But as far as inside Richmond, to answer the question, you guys name the streets. I have no idea where those streets were.
So did you consider any other light industrial or commercial areas to relocate your business to or to start another operation?
Yes, if I find a location, either that particular area only has allowed like so many licenses, whether it's dispensaries or delivery or manufacturing or laboratories that are KPG and they're maxed out, or there's places that don't lease to anybody doing cannabis, or if they do, it's like a campus where somebody owns a bunch of warehouses and they just decide they're going to lease it out to people who are doing cannabis, or there's gouging. They can lease and without picking up any dirt. I can go online to LoopNet as an example. You can find a lot of warehouses and just whatever they'll have it posted that they maybe lease it out for $3,200. As soon as I say I'm doing cannabis, it goes to $5,200 and things like that. So and that's the industry, and so it's not financially feasible for me to start at a $5,200 lease and then they go up 3% every year plus the triple net. And so that's why another reason why a lot of businesses is falling out, because they can't find a spot and they overextend themselves in their lease. And then there's other areas where they're charging an exorbitant amount of money just to issue you a license, and then they're charging 10 to 15, 16% taxes on your revenues every year, those types of things. So the industry, like I said, is at its infancy. There's a lot of ugly stuff that not just the people in the business, people who are gouging people trying to get into the business, that's what's happening. And so, you know, I want to stay in Northern California. If I can't do it, I'll probably end up in Southern California. There's a couple of places, you know, there's Santa Barbara and those type of things, but I want to stay local. I live in Oakland. I've been a resident of Oakland for 10 years now. I moved there from San Ramon. I went to school in Southern California. You said Redlands. I went to Cal College over there. My Claremont colleges. In the area very well. But this is home now. Go ahead, Danny.
Okay, question. I have one, sir. To clarify, your tenant, is it recreational or is it health? Medical, there you go.
I
Thank you. It's medical. Yes.
As a distributor, the way the industry works, no retail can work directly with the cultivators. So any cannabis that goes for sale has to go through distribution. So I can sell to health or recreation. See, so when I purchase, I'm purchasing to fill an order. And so I don't, in normal distributions where you have a warehouse full of products, like cannabis, we're putting THC and CBD and all these products. You put them on the shelf, people order your product, you deliver them. That's usually how distribution goes. The industry's at its infancy, so I don't have the financial needs to buy anything like that and put it on the shelf, because that's my liquid, that's my capital sitting on the shelf. And now I'm knocking on doors trying to sell it, so I don't do that. My focus is sourcing a quality product at an affordable price. And so when I first got into it, I was getting pushback because everybody believes that they're going to get a license to become this millionaire. And I said, well, the consumer can't afford, like indoors, as an example. It costs so much to produce it, they charge too much to sell it. I don't purchase it. I made a conscious effort 3 years ago. I'm not going to buy indoor because of the cost factor. And so I focus only on cannabis flower. None of the gummy bears, no cookies, no chewing gum, none of that other stuff. Until they work out all the nuances, until the federal government gets involved, the whole 9 yards. All my focus on cannabis, and I'm only going to purchase when I have an order for it. And that's why it's important for me to have relationships, and that's why I only do business. So to answer your question, once again, I don't sell recreational or medical. That's what the retail does. They determine that. I purchase from the grower, and then I sell it to the retail. And how I sell it to them, however I sell it, however it's packaged, that's how they have to sell it to the consumer. They can't repack it. So it'd be in eighths, half ounces, ounces, whatever the order is, quarters, whatever that is.
Okay, so that was the first question. So the second question that I have for you is the space that you will be using, I guess, for your distribution.
Yes.
The space,
yes.
The size. I was looking at. I did get that information. It was sent out at the end of May. So I was looking at the distribution and its location for that. Now, with the distribution for that, you say that you have 2 vehicles?
Yes.
2 vehicles that will be doing the service, so you will be in the information, you'll be getting the information to actually, I guess, go to the buyer and deliver.
Yes.
You'll be actually delivering. By doing that, I know one of the things that we're looking at, we're really looking and pushing for is the environment. I don't know what type of vehicle you have, but we're looking at all vehicles to kind of switch over, and I know that you're looking for growth, and you have like 5 years here, and I might be premature right now, of asking this, but are you looking to invest in, vehicles, electric vehicles at the time?
Absolutely. The only reason it's not feasible for me at this juncture is I would have gotten that one instead of the Mercedes is because of the distance on a battery charge. When you're traveling up and down the state, you want to get from point A to point B with little or no stops as possible because you have a load of cannabis products. So when you're delivering, you want to make right to the place where you're delivering. So I can stop and get gas. I'm in and out of there 15, 20 minutes. And you're charging, it's probably about 45 minutes or so. My growth is going to be my expansion to Southern California. I want to also, in about 3 or 4 years, open up a warehouse for distribution in Southern California. So by the time that when the federal government allows it to be a nationwide thing, I want to have the ability from Southern California to distribute back east.
Okay, so
That's okay.
I can get it. I know, did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. You said I had more, but you know, we can talk later. Like, if I know what you were saying, I heard you. I could have talked to you earlier about it. You said it 30 minutes earlier, but anyway.
So, and let me just say, probably won't be the last chance. We're not gonna make a decision on this tonight. What we need to do is look at what we've done in the past. We usually have a community benefit package, depending on what you're doing, that we would ask you to take a look at. I'm not saying exactly what that's gonna look like, but the last, I think the last people that came through, we negotiated a community benefit package. So, and we're not looking to hurt anybody, you know that right now. We're looking for partners in the community and see how that can help support us. So what we will do is look at our other packages that we have and give you an idea of what we're looking for. And then have you respond to it. And then leading up to that time, I mean, if there's other questions that you might have to do that. So we all the deals that we have is coming into the community now, it's gonna have to have a community benefit package. It might be elaborate, it may be very small, but it's gonna have to be some commitment to the community.
So, Mr. Chair, this is an active item, so are we saying that we're gonna table this for a later meeting?
I would suggest we do that. You don't have to take my recommendation, but we have done community benefit packages in the past. I think it would be inconsistent if we didn't look at one in this instance.
Oh, I agree. So I'm saying is the action that we're gonna take is a motion to have the applicant come back to the board, and at what time frame would we like for him to come back to the board?
Well, yeah, we can do a motion, but I would entertain a motion that, we, when is the last, when can the agenda size? I think you have to have 2 notes.
We're gonna put something together.
Yeah, in order to put something on the agenda, yeah, 2 weeks.
I just don't know, we have to look at the other package that we did before, and then we would have to present it to the owner here. And so I would like for us to be able to give some formal recommendation when we have it ready. I mean, we could shoot for next month.
But having said that, that lends to think that we would be in support of this business in the community. I think in the past, we have not supported cannabis businesses in this community.
No, we
but
have.
I think it was forced on us and it was without our permission, and so then we asked for that to be added. And so I guess my question is the board in support of this business in the community?
Well, that's, I can have you, it's open for a motion right now. So somebody can motion for not to be, and we can vote on it.
I'm sorry. If I may, one of the things just to reiterate the location that we actually shot down was the one that was directly in the community. And it was right there on Chip.
There was also another one that was further down the parkway that we shot out.
Right. And I think that's why I was at the location.
I think that's where the Pensy, I don't know.
Right, this is way.
But that's
away.
not his location.
Yeah.
If you look, you can see it on, if you go on maps, it'll show you the building area. It's not a residential area.
This is Park. This is actually, you're across from wastewater.
What?
From, yeah, water.
Yes.
Yeah, I just read, yeah, I was looking at some of your,
I think to the left, I think it said. Water company.
Well,
It's 28.
There's
Yeah,
20,
it's the
no,
wastewater.
2250 there.
Oh, 2250.
And it's on the right track. So it's pretty well out there. Okay, so anyway,
I think I'd be great is, yes, and I'm glad you brought that up, whether you would have it or not, because the clock is ticking for me, not just, the entire process, it takes a while. And I have some contingencies in my lease, and the biggest contingency is based on what the board is doing. Because the application process after the city, then it goes to the state. And so it all comes down to finances. The committee votes that to do business here, that I don't know what the term you use, that will not support it. That'd be huge for me, so at least I can work out my lease agreement and if you come up with this other stuff that you would like me to provide as far as the package is concerned. And I know it doesn't make any difference to you, but for me it does, because like I said, I have no financiers. It's all coming from me, and it could get really sticky for me. Because if it's not there, it'll be real bad for me. I'll cry when I get my car, but other than that.
So you need to up and down that.
Right.
Yeah, just to know, because I got everybody to stand by, and if I said if it's a go, then we can start doing paperwork in all which ways. If it's not, then I have to keep looking. But I really love that location. I will have zero negative impact on the community.
Question?
We're kind of in deliberation, but go ahead.
Yeah, anybody?
No.
I do have a comment in the, someone wrote a comment, Leticia wrote a comment, she asked that I read it to the board, to the council. She said, I don't really think that candidate's business, one way or another, is something I would like to see. It close to my neighborhood, especially raising my kids here. Don't forget, we have Verde that is located not too far from Central Street. I believe we should get another kind of business that offers that's not related with drugs. Please forgive my ignorance, if any, but it is what sounds good to me.
Okay, so kind of, unless there's another comment.
I have another.
Go ahead, Brett.
This is not in the community, and it's over there based on what I can see. It's far enough from the community where it's just distribution, it's not gonna be consumption, it's not gonna be sales, it's not gonna be people gathering, people who want to come to. I motion that it should be allowed.
Well,
You can't.
Because it'd be different if it was within the community, because I know a lot of you guys are seeing on TV, people coming in, breaking in, there's consumption, people hanging out, so it's not in the community.
I'm technically, you're correct, but it is in the community because it's in under our.
Well,
I understand what you're saying. Understanding is that I can see it.
Right, so if it's something, I'd like to make a motion that the board vote to support. So I say vote to support or vote not to support, I don't know how to make the motion.
I like that.
A lot of discussion. I mean, I'm just gonna say, I can't support anything that doesn't have community coming to, at least try to negotiate. I just can't do that.
That's the type of business I know, there's nobody else here, we haven't supported anyone else, but as one starts, yeah, they don't have a retail but then it'll make sense for some retailer to come to the area. And I think once you open that,
They can't.
you can't come back. And
I do
think
have
that
a
would be the-
response to that.
Yeah, I agree too.
Cause I went through this process, cause when Supervisor Joy learned about the presentation today, or him presenting to the MAC, he thought that there was a cap to cannabis in North Richmond, and he found out through the process that there is a cap to the businesses who sell cannabis, like a retailer. So there's a cap in the city, the county opened the RFQ to potential cannabis sellers already, and they already selected who can sell cannabis in North Richmond, and that process it was open and closed. So there can't be any new retail.
Now, is that a lifetime cap or is that a 5-year cap?
That's a cap that is still here right now. I can see what the timeline is, right, but it's still an
I
active.
think it's in for at least 3 more years. And she's correct, when I looked into that. It's capped in all categories except for distribution.
Yeah.
And that was, everything just kind of fell into place and unincorporated. And before they moved forward with it, I couldn't get a conditional use permit until the approval came from, because it's in one.
Yeah, and I have to add on to that, the reason why I said I with the agreements with you as far as being able to open, because I do know someone who tried to open a cannabis facility within North Richmond, and that cap that she brought up, they was told they could not do it. So I was like, I don't know how many years it was, but distribution and selling is two wildly different things.
Well, can I say
one thing? I'm sorry.
One thing for sure is we cannot deny that it's a growing industry, right? That is soon to make a lot of money here. Can't deny that North Richmond is light industrial, right, outside of the community. So that's it, that's that. One of my questions before, we were getting to this was gonna ask you around, have you thought about like things that you would want to give to the community just because you're here, you're doing business here? Have you thought about what it looks like of you actually, the business actually supporting the community, right? And that's kind of what we mean by community benefits. And I would be 100% behind, because you seem like a cool dude, you're talking a good game, right? But like I would only, like Don said, only support if I knew that you were going to provide some sort of benefit to the community. And we say that because it's like, okay, we open up our doors for folks, and then they come in and they like give them inch and they take them out kind of thing, right? And so it's just like, we want to make sure before just supporting any type of business, right, that we are in alignment with each other. You know that this is a low income community, you know that this community faces a lot of injustices, and you're not coming here trying to do harm, right? Really coming here trying to support and uplift our community through your business, which it don't matter what type of business it is, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was gonna be one of my questions, but I would only support if I knew that there was benefits.
Okay, so the thing is this, yes, I did think about that, but for me, I had to get an understanding of the nuances and what's going on in the community. Right off the top of my head, I think about impacting little leagues and sports, as uniforms and those type of things. The other part is mentorship. After understanding what those issues are, because through my fraternity, I got brothers of all professions that, all I got to do is say, you got to do this for the shield, and they show up, from doctors, lawyers, you name it, law enforcement, firefighting, that educators, fraternity brothers. Matter of fact, Dr. Robert Cook, I just talked to him Friday. He's in Southern California, but he'll give him 2 weeks. His family's from San Francisco. He's just retired. He was the principal of a high school. And so I have relationships at my disposal where mentoring is probably a big thing for the community. But before, even doing that, I gotta see what community program is already available and how we can, step in and do some mentoring or talk about some things. I've traveled, I've been around the world a couple of times, different countries. I realize some people in certain communities haven't even been to San Francisco. There's parts of the Bay Area they haven't been exposed to on television. Just a couple of months ago, they took a group of kids from Oakland to Hawaii for the first time. I've been taking my family there forever. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be ministering my daughter's wedding on the 5th of July in Maui. And I've been taking them there since I was a kid. Product of a broken home, lived in Compton. I have an understanding of the communities, but first I have to identify what those needs are, not just like I can come in and fix it, but understanding how I can support depending on what's going on.
But let me just, we got.
One last thing, it's one last thing. The one last thing is, I don't want my business to be public because that's part of my security. I got 2 businesses. So the one that would be public would be my coffee business. It's Melrose Coffee. I got a website and everything else. I've been in business in 2005. And that's just part of my security. So, I mean, the city, everybody who needs to know I'm there is going to know I'm there. But to your point, people look at it totally, this is a business thing for me. So, yes, to answer your question, I'd like to do something for the community, some capacity. But that's the only thing.
Where you have us right now is making a vote basically on thumbs up or down without knowing what that looks like. And that is, it'll be what it's gonna be. We can go through with that and make that, but I was trying not to, I was trying to give you the best benefit that you can, but it sounds like you don't have time to wait to see what we could do. That's an issue.
Well, I have time to wait to see what you can do, but
What we can do is what the question is. It's really we, because it's a mutual type of factor.
To take a look what that looks like, but as far as whether you support me coming here, and that would be the deciding factor. At least I know support me coming here, then we can work out whatever the other stuff is.
Yeah, we still wouldn't know what that looks like. It could be.
Or I thought you had a template or something.
But you don't have time I don't have it right here.
Oh,
I think what he's saying is that he wants to know if it's, you approve him being here and then you guys decide on mutual, like, what you want those terms to be under, like.
Well, that's.
If you're gonna say no, if you say no, then there's no question. If you're saying yes, this is the community, you're not letting me finish that, because I'm.
No, I'm trying to get to it.
Because he's asking you.
I understand what he's asking. Let me just tell you, what's going on. You got more than one issue on the table.
Right, he's saying to at least agree to have the business here, and then agree on what you'd like to have to.
There was one issue that we displayed here about not having any more in here. And then there was another issue we're talking about. So there's more than one issue.
Exactly, but we want to know if you cannot to have the business.
You cannot be in agreement without knowing what, what I'm saying, he's gonna provide to the community. It cannot be in agreement without support, without saying we won't support or support it.
Right, so you're just saying the same thing I just said, but in a different way.
So we're gonna.
No,
so maybe we come in this back. Time out everybody. If we have a motion for approval, we could go with that right now and we can vote it up or down. So, we could do that right now.
I don't make one comment for
No, we're done.
It's not fair.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
You cannot sit there and be okay, but you gotta not be fair.
But we're.
It's gonna take our time. We can't do it. We can't just follow the here. And if that's not the best meeting, or any that we don't get the done.
Mr. President, you're just
You're not being respectful.
This is no longer this type of discussion. This discussion is right here.
I'm not trying to.
Well, but we need to do some action. We can't be going on like
Which
this.
is, okay,
So,
I think like.
please let us do what we need to do. No,
we can't. I support him as a person, support that, you know what I'm saying, I love that, like, one person of color here, I love it. We want to support him, but we need to take the proper process that we usually do.
No, I'm saying, I'm saying, I think it's a breakdown of communication, I understand.
Okay, here we go. And did you have something?
No, I'm just saying, for public comment, you just gotta raise your hand and be called on, and then also if you wanna close public comment, then we should say, you know, we're taking public comment and then we're gonna close it, so that we open and close public comment and kind of moves through a flow of the meeting.
Yeah,
Okay, that's, okay, it's still open for public comment. So let's go with,
Yeah.
go ahead.
But my thing is, I understand both you guys point of view. You guys want to know what the benefit of the community would be if you guys were to go back up. He's stating he don't know what that commitment that you would ask of him, and he don't want to commit to something that he may not be able to provide for you because it may be too large. So my plan is, in order to be fair, just ask what is particular as far as how much time do he have before y'all check the vote up or down. So if possible, y'all can come to a conclusion and both y'all can be satisfied versus just taking the vote right now and just voting down and not knowing what he can provide.
So,
That's why they're not.
And we still got, just open comment, we're gonna do this, and so right here, did you have another comment?
Same thing, that's what I'm saying.
And I don't see anyone with their hand raised, so I think we can close
So-
public comment and move to a council.
Thank you. So, I'm ready to entertain a motion, and either the motion would be to accept it, and then either passes or it fails.
I move, that we vote on accepting the proposal, with the contingency that there would be some community benefit agreement prior to a final approval. Does there have to be an and or but on there?
There has to be a second.
I don't want to vote that, I'm.
Right, and you just made it, and you made it.
I mean, I like that, I like what you said,
Yeah,
and make it clear.
that we have to come back. This is
Yeah.
what our final.
Make it clear.
You should have. Made it at the end, that if you're gonna move forward,
No, we're voting to whether or not we're going to support or not support.
but that's come back.
Support would go with the contingency that in order to get to permanent or complete support, or final approval, that's it, final approval. There would need to be a benefits, a mutual agreed upon benefit package to
So it's contingent on the.
It's contingent.
the support is,
Yeah,
The approval.
the approval is,
finalized.
yes.
And what time frame?
He has to work that out with the kid. He applies to them to get on.
So there's a motion on the table, is there a second?
I think we
Properly second. And I will, understand it all by saying aye or. We'll take a count. All the naysayers say nay.
that.
So it neither fails or it neither survives, so it doesn't do anything. So. It's the majority. Right, we're gonna move on to the next item. And that would be the share.
Actually, yeah.
I mean, fire.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lloyd Nation, Assistant Fire Chief, County Fire.
With me is Acting Battalion Chief Andy Rosa. Andy is actually assigned to West County Battalion Chief. He responds from our Elstree station that oversees all the county operations here in West County. So that would include the communities of Elstree, San Pablo, North Richmond, Rollingwood, Alden Manor, the East Richmond Heights, and also under an agreement with other fire departments, city of Hall now, which is now our jurisdiction. So the city of Hall, for the other districts, we all work together here in West County. We work very closely with the city of Richmond Fire Department. We have one of the most progressive automatic gate agreements that I know of in the state of California, where we dispatch the closest fire station to any emergency. We go one step further and track all of our resources, whether it be city of Richmond fire engines or Contra Costa County fire engines with automatic vehicle location. So when there's an emergency call, it looks for the closest available resource and sends it. So it doesn't matter whether your emergency is in the community of North Richmond or the city of Richmond or any area that's within our agreement, the city of Richmond, Contra Costa County, we want to make sure we get the closest resource there as quickly as possible in case of emergency. Is it commonly known that when you get a structure fire, it actually requires 5 fire engines, a truck company, 2 battalion chiefs to effectively respond to that incident? The city of Richmond doesn't have enough of those resources. We don't have enough of those resources by combining our resources. We do have those many resources to respond to those. We're here presenting because our fire chief Louis Bouchard wanted to make sure that we came out now that we're meeting together to make in-person presentations. So you can expect to see myself or one of our other assistant fire chiefs here 4 times a year to provide updates from Contra Costa County Fire. I can go ahead and give you my short presentation. I'll make it brief, but mostly we want to know that we're here as a resource for you. I brought a stack of cards. If there's anything that we can do on behalf of the fire district and services this community, please let us know. We have a lot of different divisions, from emergency medical services to fire rescue to fire prevention, weed abatement, all types of different services we provide to all communities. Provide services to. Contra Costa Fire actually provides service from, the San Pablo Bay here in North Richmond all the way to Discovery Bay in East County. So we're the largest department in the county. We provide services to 85% of the county. In addition to providing fire and rescue services, we also oversee the contract for ambulance services that are provided here in Contra Costa County to provide the highest level of service that we can. We do that through a public-private partnership. So we've actually turned the tables on the profit making side of the ambulance services, and we participate. Patients are billed, those resources go right back into the system. So we're not here to make money and send money to shareholders. We're here to provide as much service as we can to the community. So we try to provide as many ambulances out there providing that service as much as possible. In addition to that, we also dispatch 85% of resources within the county. There's only 2 other dispatch centers in the city of Richmond, Joint PD Fire Dispatch System and San Ramon Valley Dispatch. But we provide dispatch for every other fire department, with the exception of Richmond and San Ramon. In an automatic aid, one of the more progressive agreements that we've come to is we can actually dispatch at 62 right down the street directly to an emergency. No delay. We would have to call the Richmond dispatch center. We actually ring them up and send them, and we notify. So now they know that 62 is responding to an emergency right here near the fire station, and vice versa. The city of Richmond Fire Department can dispatch engine 70, which is right here at 23rd Market in the city of San Pablo, dispatch center to emergency in the city of Richmond. So it's a very progressive system that we participate in here with the goal of providing the best service possible. So just an update for Con Fire. We last year in July, we took over the East Contra Costa Fire Protection District. So they were a smaller fire department. We brought them into Contra Costa Fire and we assisted them in growing because their community is growing so fast. They did not keep up with all the emergencies that were going on in East County. So since July, we've effectively doubled the number of on-duty firefighters in East County. We've opened up 2 additional, 1 station and 1 additional company. We've also provided paramedics on all resources that are out in East County, which was the term we came together as a building station. Just this last year, right after January, February 1st, we started overseeing the whole park. So the 2 state, actually the single station, before Con Fire came and brought them all in, we were actually able to reopen fire station that was closed for over 12 years in the Whole Valley area. So I was telling Andy earlier tonight that when I came to Battalion 7 here, because I worked in West County most of my career, we went through the recession and we lost in our department, we lost 7 fire companies throughout our department, and we closed 5 fire stations. And now Andy got the helm just today here in West County, and we actually have more resources than we had when I started here as the battalion chief, 10 years ago. So lots of good things to share with the community about how we're growing and how we're improving, how we look to continue to improve, provide service in the future. This is the time of year when we get to 4th of July and fire season where we get a lot busier with vegetation fires. So we do a plan, very active plan every 4th of July, where we bring in every firefighter that's available. We staff up extra resources. The chief orders all chiefs to come in. I've had work every 4th of July, but why that's just but we upstaff and significantly we organize and we sectorize the entire county to respond to emergencies as quickly as we can. But we really need your help. All fireworks are really with Contra Costa County. It is literally like trying to pull back the ocean. But community leaders can help influence that. Please remind people that fireworks are illegal. We do try to sponsor different fireworks shows throughout the county. I know that the city of Richmond usually does a fireworks show the night before at the 4th of July. Yeah, and then there's usually some type of a fireworks show they try to do, either within the Everglades, within or within San Pablo, to try to encourage people to come out and watch safe fireworks and not by professionals versus the illegal ones. But we're realists. Fireworks are a problem. We staff up for it. We try to prevent it. We have law enforcement that works within our department. They do everything they can to try to eradicate and stop illegal fireworks. So it really is difficult. We're fighting the internet. We can order anything we want over the internet and have them delivered to you. But we do staff up during this time of year because we're really busy. So we have a hand crew of young firefighters that are getting into the fire department. They're called Crew 12, and they operate 7 days a week. And that's a crew of 4 fire captains that split the week and 32 young firefighters. And we put them together, and they use hand tools to fight wildland fires. They're a great resource. In addition to that, Measure X provides some resources to do fuel mitigation projects throughout the year, so that when they're not responding to emergencies, they're doing fuel mitigation projects throughout the community. They've been working on quite a few here in West County, in Wildcat Canyon, and other areas like that. We also staff a firefighting bulldozer. So there are over 300 miles of fire trails throughout Contra Costa County that help us get to remote areas to stop fire before they get into the community. And make sure that we use those fire trails. We have heavy equipment that grooms those fireworks. This year was really rough because of all the rain, so we had a lot of washouts, we had a lot of damage on those trails. But we have 4 firefighters working almost 7 days a week, through the springtime to improve those fire trails, make sure they're accessible for us. The firefighters that work in that program also staff our firefighting, which is a great resource to have. We have the party fires that are threatening our communities. Training is a big part of what we do. We train every day. We last year ran 2 fire academies. We just recently graduated what we call lateral fire academy, where we reached out to experienced firefighters to come join Con Fire. So we had 14 lateral firefighters that joined our department in mid-May, and they're all out there on probation getting ready to become full-time firefighters with us. Our emergency medical services system is a big part of what we do. The majority of the emergencies respond to emergency medical calls. So we are working with our private partner, American Medical Response, and our EMS division to improve the services that we provide all the time. Like I said, we're one of the few departments, and actually, we're one of the departments in the county that provides a paramedic on every apparatus that we staff. That way, when our ambulances run out, we have paramedics that are on those engine companies that can provide critical services. We also have a hazardous materials team. Our hazardous materials team backs up the county health hazardous materials team. We staff that team out of a station in Pittsburgh and a station in Lafayette. That service is available through the entire fire district. One of the big jobs we're working on right now is community risk reduction and trying to prevent fires from spreading from the wildland and endangering public, endangering homes. So we work diligently this time of year to make sure that the weed abatement ordinance is properly enforced, and that we work with communities to reduce fuels around their homes, providing defensive space. So that is very much a high priority for us this time of year. Weed abatement, provide you with resources if you have concerns about wildland fire weed abatement within the community. I can help you get in touch with the people that can follow up on those things you have addressed. Last item is we have a support services division that purchases all of our fire engines. So we just recently brought in 4 additional large fire engines, the ones you see probably most commonly throughout the community. We just purchased our, this is our 6th. Six? No, ladder. Oh, yeah. We just purchased our 6th hook and ladder. So you've probably seen our hook and ladder here in West County. It's deployed from our station that we get 23rd Market, and that's a specialized apparatus that focuses on forcible entry, search and rescue, ventilation. So they're specially trained firefighters that are designed to get on the roof, open up the fire so the engine company firefighters can get in, fight the fire, and they're not just quickly. They also do auto extrication. People trapped in their car, they're the ones that bring the shots alive. Show your car. We're in the process of replacing a couple fire stations. So we're rebuilding our fire station in the Chaco community, station 9. It's over 60 years old. And we're adding 2 additional stations in the East County, former East County Costa Fire District, actually both in the city. So we're constantly hiring, training, and building new facilities and buying new apparatus to try to improve our services to the public. Thank you so much for your attention. Andy, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm returning. I spent about 6 or 7 years in our training stations. We're all one fire department. But I started out here as a firefighter. I was here for about 4-ish years, and then I came back as a driver and then came back as a captain. I love it out here. I like the community. I'm very community oriented person. This offers a lot of diversity, not only in community aspects, but also the types of calls that we run. This is a very urban environment, but it goes very, as we would say, a mix or wildland urban interface very quickly. And so, our communication, our working with each other is really important. And I can say to one that all the folks that are working under me are very community minded and very motivated to provide you the most professional and efficient fire and rescue and medical services possible. And we really insist on that quality, and that's important to us. So we know you're our lifeblood, and we're here for you.
Thank you, Andy. We'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions? And we say, I had one comment. Questions. First, thank you for coming and sharing with us tonight and informing us of the resource. Two, I know you're Contra Costa Fire and then there's Richmond Fire. Any agreements? You mentioned whichever can get there fastest is dispatch. So there's no agreements to say if you can get an EMT or something there under a certain time frame that will use hours instead of the city of Richmond, that could possibly cause a delay.
So we are always constantly striving for a 4 to 6 minute arrival. Through technology and tracking fire engines, and our closest resource system that Chief Gage referred to, that agreement sort of exists as an industry standard, but it's also the relationship we have with Richmond Fire. That's what we have. You know, a Richmond dispatch center can dispatch us, we're close, or Confire dispatch center, our Confire dispatch can dispatch a Richmond.
For fire and EMTs, it's whoever can get there, whoever's the closest.
Yeah, because we are all EMTs at a minimum level. With Contra Costa County, you're also going to get a firefighter who's also a paramedic that can stick an IV in your arm, can give you electricity, can give you certain drug dosages that can be really life-saving until our ambulance gets there to load you up and transport you to the hospital. That means same thing there.
Joe, I want to make sure that we're really clear. I want to be able to come back to you and say there's no delay between either departments. I know that there was concern at one point that we weren't sending the closest engine company because we want to get a paramedic there. So what I want to assure you is I want to make sure that what we're saying is absolutely 100% on. There's no delay on any of City of Richmond's resources coming in. That's your question.
Yes, right.
I want to make sure that that is the case, and I will come back to you if that's not the case.
Okay, and then my second question real quick. Are you guys hiring former inmates of treating CR who've been trained in fire?
You know, that's a great question.
And are you paying?
Yeah, so I would say no, and I'm sorry, but that's the answer. When we hire firefighters, they have to have an emergency medical technician license and or paramedic license. Right now, I believe that there's a limitation on getting that licensure for people that have had a felony conviction. That being said, there are measures that are being taken to try to break that barrier and allow people that have had prior felony convictions, as long as they're determined to be safe and are on the path to be able to take sex certifications, which is the entry level requirement. There you are.
I have two comments. One is, I know Urban Tilt is a farm right down the street, and they have been creating these fire kits, which is like all natural herbs and stuff to help with respiratory illnesses and stuff, and just, you know, help out people. I was wondering if like we could leave some at the fire station or whatever, and maybe I can encourage other folks to, you know, natural herbs or whatever. That's my first comment. Then my second comment was, sounds like a lot of resources and services that you guys are providing. And like, I know the Richmond Fire Department firemen there, I like know them, right? Like I know them by name and stuff. And like, I just wouldn't want to see their services lessen because there's so much over here on the county side. So I would just, those are just my two.
Yeah, so to your first comment, we don't have the ability to like implement treatment or something that's not medically, you know, cleared. So our paramedics operate under very strict guidelines. You can do these types of things, treat these types of medications. So I wouldn't be able to implement that. Answer to your second question is we have very close relationships with firefighters in Richmond, and nothing that I said tonight was meant to mean the services they provide a very high service. We are having a tough time industry-wide within the fire service, having enough entry-level candidates, both EMTs and paramedics. So our department has taken the additional step to essentially sponsor our own paramedics. So we actually have 12 firefighters that participated in the process saying that I'm going to go to paramedics. On fire. So they're entering that paramedic training program. My point there is we're offering access to that paramedic training program to every department in the county. So I'm hopeful that by doing that, it'll enable Richmond to be able to add paramedics to their department when they're ready to. But trust me, I trust that I depend on those guys to back me up. So there's no disrespect there at all.
We do dinner together, we get together for coffee, we know each other, we know each other by name. We trust them just like we trust them back. West County firefighters from Contra Costa County have a certain degree of pride with regard to working with Richmond firefighters. We love that familial aspect. We recognize that they have a very old local union number that comes with a lot of respect and gravity. And I know that just speaking kind of from the rank and file, us, former, captains, engineers, and firefighters, we have a significant amount of pride, working across boundaries with Richmond Fire. So it's a great working relationship on the ground floor, not only administratively, but we can show up and say, I can call the battalion chief today and say, would you like to meet me for coffee tomorrow? I'd love to talk about this, talk about that operationally. And what I'll generally lead with, and it's funny because they're leading the same thing. How can we help you? How can we get your back? How can he get my back? There's no competition, there's no measuring this or measuring that. So it's a really great professional, but also familial working relationship that we enjoy.
The other what's the question? Go ahead.
Mine is only a comment and a question, and I'm really glad you time. But due to the fireworks and to the enormous amount of grass and vegetation that we have now, have you all started with looking at prevented fireworks at this point and where?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, we in the urban areas, we generally don't do mitigation fireworks, but we are actually working on what they call shaded fuel break, which going up onto the ridge tops and clearing the fuels on the ridge tops, for that enables us to hopefully catch fires when they get to a ridge. When fires get to the top of the ridge, that's an opportunity for us to stop them. So if we can reduce the fuels on those ridge tops, it helps us stop those fuels. Control burns helps keep fuels at bay. The challenge in a urban community is doing those burns, not having a lot of community impact, smoke, things like that. So what we require in the urban areas are different types of fuel mitigation, from mowing to weeding to grading off property to try to prevent the large parcels of property from getting a fire of magnitude where it threatens homes. So we don't do a lot of control burns. It's the short answer. But we do other things to try to keep fires at bay in those areas. Get more of the grass. I was out with you guys the other day. There's grass out there. It's incredible. The rain was a blessing, but it caused a lot of grass to grow. But all those trees and all that brush that was, dying and decadent for years of drought is in much better shape now. That's a blessing. It's just the grass. It's the offshoot of our rain. So we just need to get through our grass season to make sure that having too many big grass fires cause property damage.
Thank you.
Just a couple more things. One, we did talk about data. We're going through the process with Richmond. We're probably looking for data now on that, but we're definitely want to see some data.
We do I can send this through Supervisor Joy's office for the board, they can share it with anybody in the community that wants those resources. We eager to fix on all our types, all our emergency types, response times, pretty much.
Specifically to the issue we talked about.
Right, in
Yeah. And then, the other thing I wanted to find out exactly, you know, your outreach into communities like North Richmond for recruiting potential folks to be.
Hey, Jude. How you doing? Good.
In terms of recruitment, yeah. So we do have an outreach team that's kind of ebbed and flowed as to getting legs under, and that is something that we can.
Yeah, we have a recruitment team. We want to try to recruit everybody from our communities, all the communities that we serve. So we really depend upon you. We love invites to community gatherings. Yeah. If you know of any.
Are they coming from Richmond?
Richmond.
You guys can join them.
When is that?
Oh, yeah, we used to be invited.
Parking lot, the health center next to
I know who's charged tomorrow. We have to have them. But in terms of like, it's normal.
We're gonna have to extend time.
It's one of my issues with, it's a combination of the housing authority and the fire department, because the housing across the street from me, they don't trim their yard ever. It's growing into the PG&E of the power lines. We had an arrest of several kids with guns. They were hiding behind that bush, all the bushes back there. It could set fire. There's garbage on top of the house. It's a fire risk. And I was gonna bring it up during the housing authority, but this is also something to do with fire. I don't know if you guys partner with them at all about making sure a lot of those abandoned places are trimmed down. And because of some of the gun violence, they're hiding in those areas. I don't know if that's something you guys do together, but it is a fire risk.
Yeah, if you want to give me the address, I can get a follow-up on the address. Here's something that's just straight up frustrating. County Housing Authority is not responsible for that like that.
Oh, yeah.
And we try to work with them to mitigate a lot of the risk of some of the homes that have been there for many years, to make sure they're not an additional hazard. As you know, we have fires in those buildings. So I can guarantee you that we will follow up on this. We will try to work with the County Housing Authority, but they unfortunately, I think they have limited funds to try to mitigate those properties. And I know they work to try to keep them secure with the kind of the high security UPS security systems to keep people from getting inside the former county housing. But they can find their way in through all types of different ways. So I wish I had a great answer for you. We will follow up on the abatement side of things, and we do mitigate that through our exterior hazard control. But as far as the housing itself, it's not something that I have been so great since I've been here.
And one comment, touching base a little bit, is there a number that the fire department would call this an emergency? I'll call the county to vacant lots with the overgrown vegetation, but they're sitting there, but I'll call the county several times. Doesn't end up.
Yeah, I don't mind hanging over and taking you right there on our phone. I can take you to our website to the weed abatement. You can make your complete right there. And follow them.
Yeah.
Okay, I entertain a motion for us to extend the time, say another 10, say 15.
I second the motion.
You're saying you make it.
I make the motion.
You second. All in favor of it?
Aye.
Opposed? Here it is. Okay. All right, we're gonna move into reports.
And thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, let's start with, oh, I know, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, so do we have someone from the city of Richmond Community Service Department? Friday, you want to put this on?
Hello.
Here's the the next. Anybody from Shield Reed Neighborhood Council, I know we're really welcome here. And I hear no one. So no. Okay. Okay. Housing Authority. Tony.
Hi, everybody. Hi, this is Tony on Zoom here. Real quickly, just wanted to let everybody know, we, as you know, we have a request for qualifications out for the sale of the below market units at Los Deltas, the scattered sites. So far, we've had interest from 8 different parties. The units are kind of all over the neighborhood. Some are duplicated, some are, just unique. Depending on how the scoring goes and who has the strongest proposals, they'll be the ones that actually succeed in purchasing the units for $1. And then the others will have an opportunity to purchase units at market rate once those go on the market. We had our second office hours this morning, and we had a couple of people join asking questions about the proposals. And short of that, we had a training with our selection panel Monday, yesterday. And everybody that was on the panel joined us. They got a sense of what's coming up ahead, and we all have been, we've scheduled August 3rd as the date that we're going to review all the proposals and make our decisions of who we want to possibly interview for a second round to get some clarification, some more information, and then we will make a final recommendation to our executive director about the sales. We'll go to the Board of Supervisors or our Board of Commissioners, excuse me. Generally the same people plus our 2 resident commissioners to get approval on the sale. We'll get approval from HUD on the sale, and then we'll be ready to close on the deals. If there's any questions, I'll take questions now.
I was asking them, who's in charge of maintaining that property? I think it's 322 Market Ave. It's way overgrown, and we had an arrest of some children over there with guns, and they were hiding behind that. Finally moved the homeless lady out from that area.
So is that
what just gonna make it through the property
market? Is that what you said?
I'm sorry. It's really hard to hear. I heard 322 and nothing after that. Thank you. Thank you.
They're not keeping up with the property. And I don't think should be to the residents to try to maintain that. We have to live there. We have to do people that live there and do whatever they're doing. And it would be great if you could maintain the lawn, whatever grows there, the trees. It just seems like I've talked to people who come by from the city. I complained when they did their artwork on the wall. I never agreed to that. That was, to me, it's you don't put murals on housing. And that was never talked to by the neighbors. And I asked about getting that removed. This has been years. I asked right after it was put up, and they just was like, yeah, we'll take care of it, and then nothing ever happened. As a homeowner, it matters to me what those buildings look like, and I never was asked what was going to be put on it. I was never asked how they even just to talk to the neighbors on what you think would be a good idea. And at the time, they had a whole bunch of dogs, homeless dogs, and then you got these kids over there trying to do their artwork on that building. It was inappropriate. And it seems like every time I try to talk to somebody that goes to that housing area, it falls on deaf ears. And then when I ask about trimming the trees, I ask somebody who shows up, they say, yeah, they don't do anything. And I feel like I've made several complaints about how that whole corner has been operating since I moved in. And I get a whatever answer that shuts me up, and then nothing's done.
So Tony, is that one of your properties?
Yes.
322 Market.
I talked to him. He's one of the people that
I
guarantee.
I don't know them all off the top of my head, but I will certainly follow up and find out. And if it's our property, we'll absolutely take care of it.
Well, it seems like there needs to be some sort of monthly schedule or some sort of schedule that she knows, like that, maintenance, you know what I'm saying? Like we go out there every 2 weeks, so people can know when y'all maintaining the property. Yes. And I remember that mural, I think that mural was done by a group of youth, which is Asian Pacific, yeah, they from another country, whatever, they came and did.
They could have got a kid right in first.
But how bad is that? You bring kids from another country and say, come here and do this artwork and on this ghetto, then you're doing us a favor. We're not a third world country. We're not poor to that extent where you have to come in and save our lives. Like it was rude and it wasn't well done. We didn't have any local kids do it. You had any local artists. It was all these just kids from another country that had never been here. And this is how you display Black and Mexican people. As if we need to have you come fix our neighborhood. It just doesn't, you're just perpetuating racism and why people feel a certain way about Black and brown people. And then now these Asian kids came in and this is their perception of us, this dirty housing area. It's just, you don't come to America to see a dirty housing area. Of something that the city should be maintaining and they're not. And then you have this, and then it's dirty and you have all these kids from another country in this dirty housing area. This is not cool. And it feels like every time I complain to somebody, it's always like, well, you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't know, or you haven't been, or whatever. I get every excuse but from handling it as it should be handled. And as a person that lives across the street from it, I have to see it happen. I have to live, I have to look at that every day. So what I want to look at, it's not, and then you have a saxophone on the wall and then some other, what's the saxophone supposed to mean? Like, I didn't even like.
It represents the music history here in Margaret.
But it's also suggestive, like, oh, you put watermelon and chicken on there too, like, it's, you just, yeah, I feel like they just put some stereotypical whatever on there without actually putting any kind of artwork that, we have Rosie the Riveter, we have all these iron workers, we have all these, there's so much history here, and they choose that. Like, it doesn't even represent the community at all. I mean, there's just so much. I have their concern, that's what I'm saying. That's why that's like down here. Still have a lot of things that you can choose.
One instrument, I think there's intention behind trying to dress up these HUD properties because they so abandoned and stuff, and people don't want to look at that. Yeah, that's a good. But okay, so because we're over time and we still have 4 or 5 minutes.
We got a history that was done back in 1999. And it's the history, the exploration of North Richmond. It's been on KQED.
Okay, so
but I'm saying
that's on here.
No. Blues capital here in North Richmond. Yes, D.B. King and everybody up here, right down on 3rd Street. It is the history. So if you will need to look at the exploration of our history, and it has 4 parts, and it's award-winning. I'm telling you, it's award-winning, and it tells how people came here in 1940 and how they built this community.
So you're telling us that that's what that
is part of.
That's not that display. So you're missing the point. See, that's not what that is.
They're welcome to it. It's always on KQED. You can always see it on TV.
It's not being
I have one comment. That's in the comment that I have. I was here at the meeting. And both sides, in my opinion, are correct. I don't know the issue, but still in the end, we as a community was not asked if that mural could be put on there. We as a community should have been some type of notification asked, should have been a vote or something, because just like she said, we the ones have to come out of our house and look at it. And I even told her that I was gonna go over there and paint over it. She talked me out of it because she didn't want me to go there because no one asked us. Yes, it depicts the musical history behind North Richmond, but it could have been somewhere else. It could have been, you guys painted the same thing, I believe, at the school of Elberty. Why couldn't that have been enough? You guys also painted on the fence down there by the tree. No, what I'm saying is it was all on the same flyer. I'm not saying this y'all personally. What I'm saying is all these murals that was painted throughout the community, why wasn't Bertie School just enough for it? I understand your point you're making for I do know the history because I was born there. I've been here since 1972. She may not know the history, but you have to understand her point because I look at it the same way. When you have foreign kids coming over here in this community, it can depict a different perspective to it. So you have to understand her point. She may not understand your point because she wasn't born and raised here, but I would. I know this with this. My point is, I would just have been, we would have been more happy if the community would have been involved in making the decision on where that mural was painted. That's the end of it.
And then I definitely agree with that, right? The neighbors and stuff should be told whatever that's going on. But at the end of the day, we don't own that property, HUD owns that property. The kids came out here, they came to the North Richmond MAC, they asked all of us about the history, and did they little due diligence on that? But yeah, I definitely think the neighbors should have been notified if it's gonna be right across the street from your house, of course. HUD should maintain their property. And everybody will look.
Yeah, I'm not addressing it. It was y'all decision, but I addressed it to HUD when it was here. And they said they're gonna get back to it. Another thing about the vacant properties, I also brought up the fact that it's people out there who want to buy those properties. Why can't HUD, and this is addressed to you, sir, why can't HUD put these properties up for sale? They've been vacant for so long. As the community didn't notify you on that one. I haven't got a problem.
Okay, so you're here at the right place.
Right.
There has been outreach for a long time. Around this and they've been focus groups.
A long 3 years,
No,
10 years.
no, back in 2018, I brought it up.
No.
There were town meetings.
2000 before the pandemic, because I brought it up personally, and that gentleman told me they was gonna get back to me, and no one got back to me. What I'm saying is, it's been all these years, but I'm glad you brought up him, so I can keep the information, so I can pass on the information to other people who want to purchase these properties. But they just a detriment to the community. They just sit board up, they invite to the homeless, they invite to drug addicts, they invite to everything. If these properties are bought and sold, maybe we can help the community beautify. And that's the whole point is, and that's so I just need to know where I can.
But you know, I hear what you're saying, there's form outreach, like mailers or something that can go to people, because there's been outreach, but in community meetings, visiting town halls, all that kind of stuff, but I definitely feel like maybe another form of outreach, like so you can get something in your mail saying that this is what you want to happen.
I let me call out at least 15 times, and nobody can tell me.
Right. Because he's on the camera, so it's kind of hard to be.
Like it's having hard time hearing the conversation. Tony can hear some of it, but I do think that it's 7:17, and I don't know what they sent the meeting.
I have another 17. I got another.
So you have to motion to extend the meeting again, right? Because it was 7:15.
Yeah.
We just spent so much talking between us, we didn't even get a chance to answer anything. And all these questions actually.
So let me make a suggestion. Why don't you contact Tony directly?
That's what I
And he can give you directly that information about the RFQ, what's going on, how it's happening, and he can give you that information. And you're welcome to come back here and follow up with us about what's going on. That's what we're here for. So, but right now I gotta extend this for another.
Okay, you finna vote.
For another 5 minutes. At 7:30.
Phone number is.
Tony, your phone number.
It's 925-957-8055.
And this is the number I called to inquire about the purchase of the.
Yeah.
Vacant property.
Yeah, and Tony makes announcements every month during this meeting about where they are in the process. The like at market, the scatter sites will be sold to the public to the market rate in the summer fall, but he'll share that information.
No, if I say
This year,
Okay.
all the scatter sites will be sold this year.
And if I can, are you on the email? So you can see all the minutes and you see all these reports?
I gave my email link somewhere.
Did they send you something?
I haven't got any email because she notified me they thought started me.
Okay, well, the email, they usually have the minutes of the whole meeting, all the meetings, so you can have that.
Well, that's why I asked, but they know me fast. That's why I said, online.
With all the minutes and everything.
Okay, so the motion for to be 7:30.
I'm a motion to extend the meeting till 7:30, not 1 minute past 7:30.
I second.
All right, all in favor, let us know.
Aye.
Motion carries. And we're going to move on.
Okay.
So.
Hi, can I say something? It's Leticia Chavez again.
Is it for Tony?
Is that for Tony?
Well, it is something related to that but I want you to be like, to hear from you what the plan is, once the units are sold, who is gonna be in charge
Can
of?
you also call him directly with that number?
It's not really for
It's
not really for Tony. I think that this is for all the residents around that we live here, and I think that it would include you. And I would like those meetings to be maybe a little longer so we don't feel like hurry and we cannot talk about the issues that we have. But one issue that I really have is I would like to know like what is gonna happen with the sites that are sold and who is gonna take responsibility of those sites.
So you had a similar question, and I already told these people to contact him directly, so I'm telling you to do the same thing. And go from there, because we can't keep doing this right now, but he will give you that information that you need, I promise.
For the RFP.
Yeah, for the RFQ.
Yeah, Leticia, just give me a call.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Tanya,
Yeah, you're.
in the Kennels Farm, you'll be at the fair, you tell us all about John Julius office, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
No,
Ron, you
no,
gonna be at the fair?
we can, no, we're not having.
All right, how you guys doing? I'm Kyle Dennis, I'm the internal community service coordinator. Just want to give you an update about last month. In our patrols, we had 100 infractions, trash, hazardous waste. RS continues to do a great job as I'm reporting the information, getting the trash up in a timely manner. I'm not seeing the same trash out, so that's a great thing. Our task force walks, we continue to have those monthly. We have a lot of residents that are now coming to approach the group, expressing their concerns about some of the illegal dumping that's going on during the weekends, and we're trying to address that as we speak. Also, Janine has done a great job getting out into the community, talking about the vouchers program, mitigation. We continue to go to different events. We attended Earth Day, Cinco de Mayo. We're gonna attending the event tomorrow and also Juneteenth coming up. So we have a lot of events that we're gonna be pushing mitigation out. We also supported sponsored three teams, three little league teams this year, 2 baseball, 1 basketball team. So 30 kids in total. So I thought that was great thing. Also, Woodley Spirit Event that happened on May 13th. Great event. Got the word out. We had 17 dumpsters total, 3 metal dumpsters, had 36.72 tons of waste. And the next Woodley Spirit Event will be September 30th. So we'll be promoting that launch.
Thank you. Any comments, questions? Now we got on to Richmond Land. Is anyone in Richmond Land?
No.
And
No updates, but Space Level Way is open if y'all need party equipment, tables, chairs, tents, 360 booth, photo booth, any of that is available. Ran through 3 Black women from Richmond.
where you going?
Space Level Way,
You have a comment?
yeah, you can just look on Google, we are Space Level Way, premiere and refresh.
All right, Herbert. Oh.
Hello? Hello, my hand is up. I want to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Miss Eleanor, Miss Janine is not here tonight.
Yes, she's here.
Yes, she is.
Okay, she's going to be coming up next?
No.
Or have you spoken for her? Okay, I want to ask Miss Janine a question.
What was the question?
Janine, I want to find out if she had any problem with the cleanup that we are assigned to do, as they're assigned to us by Dylan, who is the person in Martinez. I want to find out if she had any trouble because she monitors us. So I wanted her to let us know if she had any problem with the cleanup. Is there any issue?
A phone call tomorrow, Miss Eleanor. You have
I
a
didn't
number 510-255-9203.
No, I wanted to find out because Miss Scott has asked several times, mentioned several times that she did not want the same vendors. So that's why I wanted to know if there was.
Give her a call directly.
Give you a call directly, Miss Eleanor.
Well, let me ask, can I ask Miss Scott a question? Is she still on here? Miss Scott?
What do you have for me, Miss Eleanor?
I wanted to know because you have said several times that you would like new vendors for strategy 10. Do you have a problem with the cleanup or?
Wait, hold on. That's the mitigation committee. That's not.
I know.
Yes, we're not doing that right now. Okay. Urban Tip. Anybody here from Urban Tip?
Yes, good evening. Just wanted to let you know that we sent out 4,200 plus magazines. So if you're a North Richmond resident, you should have received a magazine in the mail. Gives a snapshot of what we've been up to. I think, I'm not sure if there are any new people, but if there are any new people, then you should know that we have a 3-acre farm at 323 Brookside Drive. We provide food for 500 families a week. We have a free farm stand here on Thursdays at 2 at Chelsea and Fred Jackson Way. We also just purchased another 7 acres, which we're very happy about that didn't go to a developer. I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I'm just want to apologize for the meeting going as long as it did. I will be better with the public comments coming, and I hope I didn't finish any one of you go on there or whatever, because we're getting that together in regards to how we're going to conduct that, along with the time limits that we have. So we'll be better next time. So thank you all. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Okay, now, I will go to this one. I'm checking. I see them on that one.